Don't follow what most people do because you don't want the results that most people get. The average person is obese, likely to be divorced, and has less than 1K in their bank. It feels safe to do what everyone else is doing, but it's actually a terrible decision. It has truly never been easier to be ahead of the pack and to be way above average. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to level up so that you can make 2025 your year. But before we get into it, if you're new here, hi, my name is Tika, and I quit my corporate job last year to pursue a life on my own terms. On this channel, I share videos on self-improvement to help you live your healthiest, wealthiest, and most fulfilling life. So if that sounds like your jam, then do subscribe. So let's start with some low-hanging fruit. To be fitter than 99% of people, all you have to do is sleep to 7 to 8 hours per night, eat mostly unprocessed foods, drink more water, work out 3 to 4 times a week, stop drinking, stop smoking, and take a 15-minute walk every day. It's really shocking to me that although this should be the baseline for like a normal, functioning, and healthy human being, most people actually fall under this baseline, if not well below it. Most people are sleep deprived, they avoid walking where they can, and to put it nicely, they eat like their body is a garbage can. And when I made the shift to this healthy, more active lifestyle, I really felt it. Like I really felt the ostracization. And I'll give you an example. So whenever I'm presented with the option of either taking the escalator or the stairs, I will always take the stairs. And I've made that a habit for the past 2 years. So one day I was on the way to the gym and I just bumped into one of my gym bros and we ended up walking to the gym together. And the gym is like a few levels up and I was making my way towards the stairs and my gym bro was like, "Oh, you're taking the stairs?" You know, he was all surprised and shocked about that. And in that moment, I found that so weird because even though this is someone who makes gym and makes working out their lifestyle, they're still surprised about the fact that I would rather take the stairs than take the escalator. And I think a large part of that is because we normalize convenience and we normalize comfort to the point where, you know, if someone decides to not take the comfortable path, it's actually considered weird. Another example is with clean eating. And when you're someone who generally eats very healthy, eats very clean, and mostly eats unprocessed foods, most people will see this as extreme and they'll think that you're going on a diet. When in reality, what people think is normal eating is actually the equivalent of treating your body like a trash can. So ever since I started healthy eating, I get comments from people all the time saying like, "Wow, you eat so healthy, you eat so clean, that's so good." And they praise me for it as if it's something exceptional. And yeah, on the one hand, I do take a lot of pride in that, but on the other hand, I'm also shocked and I feel weird about it because this shouldn't be exceptional. This should just be the baseline. This should just be how everyone is eating. And the other day, one of my friends even told me like, "Hey, you know, you're like the only person that I know who actually eats healthy." And I was so shocked because this person has a lot of friends. And listen, I'm not trying to come from a place of superiority saying like, "Hey, I'm better than all of you because I eat this way." And that's because not too long ago, I was eating just like everybody else. I think collectively as a human society, we all just need to wake up and make better decisions for ourselves. Another point is that life has never been more comfortable than it is today. Like it has never been easier to get in shape and eat well because we have the internet, we have all of these resources at our fingertips for free. And so we don't have a lack of knowledge on this. Yet our proclivity towards seeking comfort and always expecting comfort is making us weak. There's this book that I really like by Michael Easter and it's called The Comfort Crisis. And the whole premise of the book is basically saying how seeking discomfort can actually enhance your physical and mental well-being. And he cites a whole bunch of studies that proves this. I would highly recommend you guys reading it if you haven't yet. There's one point in the book that has really stuck with me. And he talks about how early humans, so our ancestors back then, they often had to walk really long distances in order to obtain food and go hunting. It wasn't uncommon for them to cover about 25 miles a day, which, you know, today we would consider a marathon, but back then it was just picking up dinner. And that's just really shocking to contextualize. Physical exertion was a routine part of our ancestors' day, whereas now it's such a sharp contrast to the way we live in terms of how sedentary we are and how we're always sat down all the time and how, like to mention my previous example, we will always opt for the escalator, not the stairs. Be the boring friend. Be that person who goes to bed at 10 p.m. every night, wakes up at 6 a.m. every day, eats the same 5 healthy meals on rotation, goes to the gym at the same time every week, doesn't always say yes to going to parties and whenever you get invited out for drinks, and is focused on working towards their goals every day. And let me be so real with you guys right now. When you live this way, you are going to lose some friends. And yes, that's gonna feel sad and it's gonna be painful, but you should reframe it in this way instead. Why would you wanna keep people and friends around you that keep you small, that hold you back from pursuing the things that you want to pursue? If they were really your friends, they would want to rally behind you. They would encourage you towards your goals. And at the very least, they shouldn't be hindering you. So the way that I sort of categorize friends is in 3 different tiers. So tier 3, which is the bottommost tier, is I would say people who actively discourage you from achieving your goals, who hinder you from making progress towards them. And tier 2 is people who are kind of neutral about it, like, oh, okay, you do you, I'll do me. Like, they won't stop you from pursuing your goals, but they won't actually actively encourage you or anything like that. And then tier 1, which is the best tier of friends that you should ideally aim for, are these people who will rally behind you, who will encourage you every step of the way, who want to see you win. And those are the kind of people that you want in your life. And if I were to add one more tier to this, which I would say is like the God tier of friendship, is people who not only actively encourage you towards pursuing your goals, but they're also on a similar journey. And so you can encourage each other and stay motivated that way. Your environment is one of the key indicators of your success, and trust me, it is very, very hard to win when everything and everyone around you is trying to tear you down. So I'll give an example with my fitness journey. When I moved from Malaysia to Australia after I quit my corporate job, I started working at a gym part-time just to learn living expenses whilst I build the YouTube channel, build the business. And honestly, working at a gym has been so great at encouraging a healthy and active lifestyle. And that's really important to me because that's one of the values that I treasure the most. I see people like the other staff bringing their own food that they meal prepped at home, and I'll see members and staff as well just training hard every single day, and it's so motivating. And on top of that, the kind of conversations that you have at the gym is so different. Like, it's so normal for people to be talking about their goals, whether it's in fitness or in life, and just like talking about health and active living, it's such a different environment when you're working at a gym. Whereas in contrast, years ago when I used to hang out with people that only wanted to eat K-barbecue and drink every weekend, well, guess what I was doing? This is a trite saying, but it's trite because it holds true. And that is, you are the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. And listen, I'm not saying that you need to cut people from your life, but I just want to give a heads up to you that when you level up and when you change, don't expect everyone around you to be encouraging. And in fact, some people might actually try to tear you down. You will receive hate from some people and you will receive pushback, but know that it's not because you're on the wrong path, or that just because this feels bad and everyone's rejecting me for it and I feel ostracized. Like, don't think that this is because you're doing the wrong thing. If anything, it's a leading indicator that you're doing the right thing, because you don't want to be like everybody else. If you don't want their life, don't try to emulate the way that they live. Don't listen to what they're telling you to do, because why would you want to end up in the same place as them? You are strong enough to push past it and know that you can't conform if you want to be doing anything exceptional with your life. There's a really powerful concept called the lonely chapter, which Chris Williamson and Alex Hormozi talk about in one of their podcast episodes. And to be honest, they said it best, so I'm just going to put the clip here.
When you start to feel friends around you and the people that you used to be able to speak a common language with start to push back and start to make the quips of, oh, not drinking tonight, yeah? Oh, you must be too cool for us now. I know it hurts. I know it hurts. That is the lead indicator, not even the lagging indicator. That is the lead indicator that you are doing the right thing.
You quitting drinking, or you staying in to work on your side hustle or your project or the business that you want to launch, or the podcast, you might be at the top of their mountain. And so they are tearing you down because now you remind them that they haven't done it. And it's purely a projection of them onto you and has nothing to do with you. And I promise you, every single person who wants to do something with their life and has done something with their life has gone through the exact chapter that you're going through. And it's the lonely chapter. It's the chapter where you don't fit in with your own friends, but you don't have the outcomes yet to fit into a new group of friends. And you're doing this thing, you're consuming content on the internet, you're doing these free tutorials online to try and figure out how to set up a podcast and where do I host this thing? And you're going through this and you're like, is this even worth it? Because you have no signs of success, right? But if there's anything that you can take away from what we're saying right now, is that the sign of success is the hate that you get along the way. And what you can't do is bend the knee to their hate and fit back into the conformity because it's comfortable and it's warm, because you've been down that road and you know exactly where it leads. And I know that's not where you want to be.
Be a creator, not a consumer. Creating gives you energy and consuming depletes it. You might think that lying down and zoning out to some Netflix or doom scrolling on social media is an effective way to wind down and recharge your batteries. This couldn't be farther from the truth. Doing passive and lazy things will continue to make you passive and lazy. On the flip side, you might think that, creating takes a lot of active effort, and as a consequence, it's going to use up a lot of energy. But actually, the reverse is true. Creating gives you purpose, it inspires you, and it makes you want to get out of bed early before everyone else is awake to work towards your goals. What I found in my life is that creating gives you the energy for you to go through life. When I was working my 9 to 5 in finance, I really felt like I didn't have a purpose, and I felt like I wasn't really working towards anything meaningful. And as a consequence, I found it so hard to get out of bed every day. I was so demotivated. I was so depleted of energy all the time. I stopped wanting to do a lot of things, and I even stopped doing things that I love, like reading. And that's because I realized I wasn't utilizing my potential and my creativity, and I wasn't developing myself in any sort of meaningful way. And that was so depleting for me. Whereas when I started my YouTube channel alongside my corporate job, it actually brought the fire back in me, because I felt like, oh, I'm doing something important and meaningful, and I'm actually on this steep learning curve where I'm developing myself at such a rapid pace. And it was so rewarding for me. And because of that, it gave me all this energy. And to be honest, even though I was working harder than I've ever worked before, trying to juggle my 9 to 5 in a very stressful corporate finance environment with posting on YouTube consistently on a weekly basis, I was working so hard, but at the same time, I had so much more energy. And this is why I will happily wake up at 6 or 7 a.m. every day now to just work on my goals, to work towards building the channel and building my own business and building the life of my dreams. And on several occasions since I quit my 9 to 5, I've had so many comments from different people telling me, girl, you are glowing, or something's different about you in like a good way. And to be honest, I genuinely think it comes from having a life purpose. It really gives you this glow and this energy, and people can see it. You walk different through life when you're doing something that is important to you, when you are creating and not consuming. Keep going, even when it's hard, and especially when it's hard. There's this quote from Chris Williamson, and to be honest, I think we should keep a tally now of how many times I either quote Chris Williamson or Alex Hormozi. But anyways, what he says is that whenever I get to a low point, I remind myself that this is where most people stop, and this is why they don't win. You do not have to be the strongest, the fastest, the most intelligent person in the room to win. All you have to do is be the person that stays in the room the longest after everyone else has left. Because for 99% of people, their stick-to-it muscle is weak as people will give up on things prematurely as soon as something starts to feel a little hard, or as soon as something starts to feel a little uncomfortable. And that's because we've been primed to seek and expect comfort, which is what I was talking about earlier. And the other problematic thing is that we are primed to seek immediate and instant gratification, especially, with the advent of social media, short form content, especially TikTok, Instagram Reels, and things like that. And we expect things now and fast. And this has made us into people who are unable to keep showing up without immediate gratification, without instant results. So what I'm about to say next is what I think is one of the leading markers of a successful person. And whenever I see that someone else has this trait of being able to work at something for a really long time and be consistent with it and work hard at it day in and day out, even if, and especially when, they are not seeing results, and that could be for months or even years. My immediate instinct when I see this sort of person is, I want to be friends with them. I want to get to know them. I want to feel inspired by them. I don't look at them at all with this frame of like pity or like, oh my God, that's so cringe that you've been trying for so long and you haven't achieved any sort of success with it. Like, I don't think that way at all. If anything, I'm like, wow, I really admire you. Because let me tell you, these people, when you give them a long enough time horizon, these are the people that are going to win. There's gonna come a day where they're gonna be able to cash in on all the effort and all the hard work that they put in over years and years and years. Things are gonna explode and they're gonna achieve everything that they deserve. Your mood, follow the plan. Most people will act based on how they feel, and so to not be like everyone else reverse that and do the thing despite how you feel. For most people, they'll be like, yeah, I'll do X when I feel motivated. Whereas the 1% would say, I will do X regardless of how I feel, regardless of whether motivation is there or not. And this is so important because motivation is not always going to be there. And the fact of the matter is, it might not be there most of the time. And so you cannot rely on motivation to achieve your goals. What I found is that on the days that I really don't feel like working out, but I do my workout anyways, I feel so much better about myself. And honestly, like once I start doing the workout, I immediately forget like how shitty I was feeling before. And afterwards, I just feel so proud of myself. I feel so good because all the endorphins, dopamine, whatever is like rushing through my body, and I feel energized from the workout. And all those positive emotions that I'm feeling is what will motivate me to want to keep going at it with my active and healthy lifestyle to show up to my next workout. And this is a prime example of how action precedes the feeling and not the other way around. So do the workout and you'll feel motivated afterwards as a result. You can't wait to feel motivated to then do your workout. Otherwise, you'll just never do your workout. Conversely, when you indulge yourself in your emotions and you act based on how you feel, do you notice that you feel worse afterwards? Like for me, let's say I'm having a really bad day and, I don't want to do my workout. I just want to eat like a cookie or a brownie because I need that emotional comfort. And I'll feel awful afterwards because, I would be having a sugar crash and my body will feel super bloated because I'm essentially poisoning it. And I feel awful, I feel sluggish, I feel even more lethargic. And yeah, indulging in your emotions and acting based on your emotions actually makes you feel worse afterwards. So this was about a couple months ago, and I was experiencing a really bad bout of burnout because I had been working for like weeks and weeks on end, and I didn't even give myself a break. And to be fair, that was completely my fault. What I would normally do in that situation, I would burn out and I would like take a week off, but during that week, I would just treat myself, have like a self-care week where I would just sleep in all day and just binge watch Netflix and essentially bed rot and eat all the comfort foods that I want. But what I noticed in the past that whenever I did that, I always felt so much worse afterwards. And so I decided to try something different this time around. This time I did take that whole week off. I didn't do any sort of like YouTube work or business work. And what I did was I cooked myself really healthy meals every day. And I took walks a lot. I still went to my workout, but I wasn't going at it as hard as I normally do, but I still went anyway. And I was moving my body, getting some sunlight in, getting steps in. I was reading a lot instead of like, mindlessly watching Netflix. And after that 1 week, I just felt so much better and so much more rejuvenated versus, how I used to feel before when I was indulging in myself, when I was snacking a lot, eating whatever comfort foods I wanted and just like bed rotting and, doing all those things. One point that I really want to emphasize is that your feelings are temporary and they will pass. However, what will remain are the consequences of the decisions you decided to make or not make. And I'll give another example with my content. So sometimes I'm really not in the mood to make content. I'm really not in the mood to film. And if I were to be really honest with you guys right now, like I woke up today not feeling that pumped to film this video, but I'm here anyway. I'll give an example from the past. One of my most successful videos, in fact, the most successful video that I have on the channel to date, it has over 500,000 views. And I remember during that time, I was in such a chaotic transition period of my life and I was really under suboptimal conditions. So back then I had just quit my job and I was serving my notice period at work and I was doing a lot of overtime because I was handing things over to other people and wrapping up projects and stuff like that. And I was also moving out of my apartment, moving stuff back home. And I was doing a lot of preparation to move out the country as well because at that point I was going to move from Malaysia to Australia. And really I was just tired. I was sleep deprived. I was in such a chaotic state of mind that I really wasn't feeling it at all. I did not want to make that video. But I pushed through it, I filmed it, I edited the thing, and I posted it. I worked hard on the thumbnail, and I'm really glad that I did because it's my most successful video to date. It's gained me the most number of subscribers on my channel. 10,000 of you guys would not be here today if I hadn't posted it. And imagine if I had just based my actions on my feelings. I would have just told myself back then, listen, Tika, you don't need to film this. It's okay. Just take it easy. We can do another video a different day, but I'm glad that I didn't succumb to those thoughts. Bottom line is, in hindsight, I'm always really glad that I did the right thing, regardless of how I felt in the moment, and especially when I didn't feel like doing it. And by doing that, you really build the sense of pride in yourself, and that is exactly how you become the 1%. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and like, and as always, take care and see you in the next video.